why do you pay taxes? You pay taxes because you think you should, because you value the public that you get, because you think the state is legitimate, because you understand that everyone has to contribute, otherwise the whole thing falls to pieces. He's worked in a lot of countries where he's seen what a lousy type of society that makes, and that's part of populism. If you look at Chavismo in Venezuela, in Argentina, you look at this kind of delegitimization of the institutions, of the social norms, trying to really squash the pre-existing. He's James Robinson, he's the Reverend Doctor. I have to turn this up a little bit. He's mostly a university professor at the University of Chicago. He's a faculty director of the Pearson Institute for the Study of Resolution of Global Conflict in the University of Chicago, Harrison for Public Policy. So the difference between Guatemala or Colombia or the United States or Canada is not from some fundamental structural difference in terms of geography or ecology or something like that. It's just that historically those societies got polarized in different ways. And that led to this enormous divergence at the time. So when you talk about economic growth, and you think a lot about economic institutions, like things like property rights, they create incentives and opportunities in the economic sphere, and that's very important. But if you want to say, okay, why is it that the United States has better economic institutions than Democratic Republic of Congo, his view is that's fundamentally a political outcome, and it's society that collectively chooses through a political process, the institution that it has. Yes, economic institutions are critical for the economy, but if you want to understand the variation across the world of these economic institutions, that's really about politics and the way power is distributed and exercises in society. So he would say the bottom line is that most of his research is the institutions in societies that generate different patterns of long-run economic development. So poor countries tend to have institutions that don't create broad-based incentives or opportunities for people. They tend to favor narrow elites at the expense of society more generally, but successful economies have managed to create sets of economic institutions, rules which create broad-based opportunities and incentives. So his book, Why Nations Fail, he tries to come up with a simple way of thinking about what kind of political institutions are associated with economic success and what types of political institutions are associated with economic failure. And it sorts of emphasizes two dimensions. One is the distribution of power in society and whether political power is very narrow or much more broadly spread. And he emphasizes also the same kind of development of the state. So whether or not you have an effective centralized state